Okay, not bad. Pretty fancy place. But anyway, I turn around. I had the premiere a couple of days ago. That went well. Now I got somebody here. Then I better be a little bit more or less direct because my power might be cut off. Who knows? Comment ça va?
Ça va très bien.
And your name is?
Gaetan Thomas.
And you are?
Le président, directeur général d'NBPOWER, president and CEO of NBPOWER.
NBPOWER. Yeah. You've been busy the past week.
Very busy. Always busy here.
And I appreciate sitting down. Just want to ask a few questions and do a YouTube and just the majority of my readers and listeners are English, so jamais le faire français, mais the English part. We'll do it in English or sometimes we'll switch in French. Anyway, the Mactaquac Dam. And it's just to do a video and educate the people on what is the Mactaquac Dam. How old is the Mactaquac Dam?
Mactaquac was constructed in the mid-60s. It started running around 68, and then we have built some additional units as late as the early 80s. So we started with 4, and then we've added a 5th and a 6th unit. It's been providing about 12% of the energy for the province of New Brunswick. It has a small reservoir. It doesn't have a lot of storage. It's called what we call a runoff the river system. So basically produces energy, lots of energy in the spring and in the fall. But the rest of the year, it's really more a reserve unit. There is not a lot of generation when we don't have a lot of water or a lot of rain.
Whose idea was it to build the Mactaquac Dam? Do you know?
Well, I don't know. I was born in the 1960s.
I was born 1959.
But, I know my father worked on it as a carpenter, laborer. They were doing staging, and the idea, I'm sure, was that there's a lot of energy, and at the time costs were reasonable, like in terms
the good old days.
Yeah.
How many? In those days, before Mactaquac, they got the power. This was before Point La Pro. They got the power where? Do you remember?
Yeah, well, definitely before La Pro and before Colson Cove as well. So most of the power in those years would have come from Grand Lake, and Dalhousie was commissioned around the same time in the 70s. So really, Mactaquac is a big expansion for the Power Commission at the time.
Yeah, it must have been like the Boulder Dam in Las Vegas, near Las Vegas. Is it Boulder Dam they call it? The Colorado,
yeah,
Colorado River.
Yeah, but not obviously not as
big. No, but almost the same for New Brunswick.
Yeah, but for New Brunswick, it was a big project at the time.
It's good. Now they flooded the pond behind, and it's flooded till. Is it flooded till Woodstock? Is it that far?
Well, it goes as far as probably Beechwood. I mean, in terms of the basin for Mactaquac, there was a few land that were expropriated at the time, but from a pond perspective, again, it was never designed to be a big reservoir like the dams in Churchill Falls, for instance, which flooded way more areas than Mactaquac did. So it's still considered a runoff the river. So not a lot of flooding compared to a high capacity factor dam.
How much it cost then, do you know?
Oh, I don't recall. No, I don't have the numbers there. But it was way less expensive than anything we want to do today.
Okay, this new dam, how much is it going to cost?
Well, the cost for the new dam is a combination of capital costs and operating costs. So when you put it into what we call net present value, it's going to be between $2.9 billion and $3.6 billion. That's the total cost, additional operating costs, and capital costs.
But we all know when a project like this is announced, usually it costs more money at the end.
Well, most projects in the past have cost more money at the end, and that's all over Canada. That's not only in New Brunswick. However, because this one has less capital costs, which is about a half of what the total project cost will be, and a lot of the costs would have to take place anyway. Like, even if we didn't have the expansion growth issue in the concrete, we would have had to replace the turbine, the generators, the electrical equipment, which are never designed for more than 50, 60 years. So this would be part of our regular expenditures that we would normally do for any dam that are designed for 100 years. And I want to make sure that everybody understands, like, the dam itself is in great shape. Like,
Right.
the dam, there's no issue. It's an earthen dam, and it's good for its life, which is over 100 years.
Which company is going to benefit from this?
Well, at this stage, we don't know, because we are going to go to a competitive process, and the best bidders, the ones that can do it for the best price or the best value for our customers will win those bids. So
No.
we haven't defined that yet.
Not like Quebec there. There's no frauds. There's no kickbacks, or there's nothing. It's going to be done in. I'm being funny here. It's just going to
Look,
open process.
We always have open process in Brunswick. All our bids, are openly available to all contractors. We have a lot of experience in Coulson Cove. We have a number of acts that we will follow: the Crown Construction Act, the Procurement Act, a very public process where people will bid, and we will evaluate those bids and then select the contractors. But before we do that, we have to get actually approval from the EUB.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Energy, the
Is
Utility Board.
that the EUB or is that Robert Jones?
No, that's the EUB. That's the EUB. As far as I know, Robert Jones worked for CBC.
I know. I'm just saying he's always there. I couldn't stand staying there for hours and hours and hours. I'm just joking around here.
Yeah. Well, and the EUB obviously is any project greater than $50 million has to be approved in front of the EUB. So we will go there. We will start some competitive process before that, but any long-term contract, which we're talking here a 15 to 20-year process to fully do the repairs on the power structures and replace all the equipment that is aged or obsolete, we will need to have that approval in our hand before signing long-term contracts.
Are we going to put a loophole in there or say, hey, New Brunswick companies first before we go outside, or workers, New Brunswickers first?
Yeah, the companies, it's hard to tell who's going to win. It really depends on the capacity, the local capacity. But in terms of the workers and in terms of the people that will do the execution of these contracts, in my past experience, even when we had AECL as the main contractor, all the people that did the work were people from New Brunswick, people like Lorneville Mechanical, Sunny Corner, people. There's a lot of qualified contractors in New Brunswick that can execute the work. Sometimes specialized engineering has to be done outside the province, but typically, my experience is that the New Brunswick contractors win these jobs.
You're the CEO. You can't tell the future. If you could, you would win the 649 and you'll be out of here. How do you see, if you remove the dam, how would it affect the rest of the St. John River from here to St. John?
Well, removal of the dam has been one of the options that we considered, but it's more expensive because to reestablish a river, it would take time. Like, it wouldn't happen overnight. And nobody really can predict how quickly you can get habitats, whether the fish would come back like there was before. There are new species in the river. So there's all kinds of science that we've done, but nobody can predict it yet, because a dam that size, with the kind of power generation we have, that has not been done. So we have put some estimates, but those estimates could have even gone higher than the $4.4 billion to restore the river. That also included the replacement power, because if you remove the dam, the 12% renewable energy has to be replaced.
Yeah.
And there are not a lot of options to give us the balancing of the grid, the operating reserve.
Maybe we could have people exercise bikes to produce power. That would be a
Well-
good way to lose weight, no?
Well, we certainly would need a lot of bikes. And so the options would have been more wind and more solar. And, we also could, do purchases. And really, it could come from Newfoundland, it could come from Quebec, it could come from the U.S. But then there would also be a concern. The public has told us that they were concerned about energy security and energy independence. So 40% renewable we have to achieve by 2020. A big portion of that is Mactaquac.
Wind farm. How
Yes.
many of those wind farm, what do you call it? Those,
Those wind farms.
wind
they're-
farm. How
yeah.
many wind farm would equal 12%?
Well, we have today about 294 megawatts. They operate at a capacity factor of about 30%, and it is about 7% of the energy in New Brunswick.
How many? How
So-
many of those
How many of those windmills?
windmills? That's it.
Yeah, windmills. They're about 2 megawatts. Now they make them about 2 megawatts per windmill. So if you want to replace 680 megawatts of
I
Mactaquac,
never been good in math, so okay.
340.
340.
Yeah, and they take a lot of space because, when people say that windmill doesn't have any impact on CO2, well, you have to cut trees to have enough clearance between each of the windmills because they are not as effective if they are stacked one beside each other. So there's a minimum clearance. So it's a lot of footprint to put 340
My
windmills.
God, maybe the clear cutting that the force react. Hey, maybe that could be connected with the. Don't answer that. I just thought about it. So how many windmill? 12%.
Yeah, well, I'd say probably 340.
340 be
I'd say,
equal.
yeah.
Interesting.
And a pretty big windmill for that. It used to be 1 megawatt, so in the 5 or 6 years ago, it would have taken 680.
Why are the natives speaking up against the new dam? How come they want it out of there? Not, don't say the
Well-
natives. Some are for it, some are against.
Well, the First Nation have a deep connection with the river, and
Yes.
we've consulted with them. I met with the chiefs, the Maliseet chiefs, and obviously we also had some discussion with the Mi'kmaq, and they have a deep connection for the river.
They do.
Basically, they basically feel, and we can understand that they've lost, what was their livelihood, and they were really connected to the nature. The fish obviously has changed, and the multi-species that they were interested in. There's a lot of things that have changed over the last 40 years, since the dam has been installed. So, and that deep connection to the river is important to them. However, although they would have preferred the restoration of the river, they also understand that there are some opportunities that can come out of this project, and we've committed to work with them to build capacity so that they can be more engaged, build the capacity on the trade side, on some of the management side, especially with the fish passage. We've signed a deal last year to start improving the fish passage at Tobique. We've worked very, very closely with the Tobique First Nation, and they are getting involved and engaged in helping us fixing fish passage in Tobique. We have put $100 million on this project to improve fish passage. We'll be working with the Provincial Environmental Department, the Department of Fisheries and Ocean, and First Nation to come up with a solution that will improve multi-species fish to be able to come back up the river again. So there's a lot of opportunities, and although they were disappointed, they're still very much collaborating with us, and we're building a good relationship with First Nation. I have a lot of respect for Chief Gabby and all the chiefs, and I understand their feelings about the dam.
I always said I would love to go back in a time machine and put a boat in the middle of the St. John River, right, the Westwater Bridge here, and between the two bridges, and just see how it was 500 years ago. No noise, the color of the river. It must have been incredible. I can see the connection between the natives and the St. John River because it's a beautiful place.
It is.
What's the perception that, okay, Is there some reserves, First Nation, that get free power? They have a discount under power rate? How does that work?
The First Nation gets the same cost of power as everybody else, okay?
Yeah.
And obviously, because we have taken the river, one of the claims they have is that they should get free power.
Okay.
But that's all a part of the social. Our job at NBPOWER is to actually treat everybody the same, and we can't subsidize one class of customers. The application that they use, the power is very similar to the non-natives. So in terms of the cost today, we are not in a position to negotiate free power.
Okay, no, I was just asking because I thought the free power, and then they want the dam removed. I said, oh, right, where are they going to get the power? Like it comes from water. It's not like it's...
well, I think they realize they got to get the power from somewhere. And I think that, although they understand that, they'd like us to reestablish the river, they understand that, once you have a dam, you should, I think they understand that you should maximize its potential, which, by the way, the benefit of cheaper power is available to all New Brunswickers, including First Nation.
That's good. They've been working on the dam the last few years. You see some work being done. Didn't they put some turbine in there in the 80s? Turbine that was about 8 stories high? Yeah,
we've added, that's what I was saying earlier, we have added 2 turbines in the early 80s. Yeah. So we only
from
had
Russia,
4.
Right?
Yeah, there were 2 from Russia.
Yeah.
You're informed.
Oh, yeah, of course, Russia. I'm a blogger,
yeah,
my God.
Yeah, and that's because, we were able to increase the capacity. And so the plan would be now to replace all those turbines and generators over the next 15, 20 years.
Did it work good, the turbines?
Yeah, they were all work good.
All work good. So it's...
But they are aging.
They're aging.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, somebody asked me, I'm not educated, maybe you could, if you don't know, don't worry about it. What's that word? Sediment accumulation?
Yeah.
What's that? Can you explain that?
Well, sedimentation occurs when you have a blockage on the river.
Yeah.
And basically it's building some materials at the upstream of the dam. So we've done some studies on that, and there's nothing out of the ordinary. And again, there will be some accumulation, but nothing too significant. And as we go through the provincial environmental process, we've done the studies, and we'll be able to talk more about it. I'm not an expert on that, so I can't give you more information. That we know about the issues, and there's nothing really there that we are concerned about, and we can explain, how the river is still healthy.
Compared to the 1960s, the dam, you should be the high tech we have now compared to the 1960s. You should be pretty excited of what's to come.
Absolutely. This option 4, the new options to maintain the dam, was not available 5 or 6 years ago. There were people that were experimenting with it, but it was not known until a few years ago. And now, with the technologies, you're able to model the growth. You're also able to determine that the actual power structures are stable, and they will be stable with the proper maintenance until the original life of the station. That's a great news for New Brunswick and our customers. Less impact on debt, like the debt, will not see any other spikes. There'll be some extra capital in a few years, but we'll have the capacity to not raise the debt equity ratio too high, and that will be done, and you will see the 10-year plan will be issued today, and you'll see that it will have no rate shock for the next 10 years. That's great news for our customers.
Okay, educate me. Salmon run, the salmon. I thought I saw it Kings Clear. Yeah. I saw this building, salmon research or whatever, I don't know what it was called, and I didn't know that was connected to the Mactaquac Dam.
Yeah.
So 60s came the salmon. What's the arrangement?
So we have a fish ladder there. So we are collecting salmon, and we are doing some things, with the methods of the past, but we are not seeing a lot of salmon anymore. There's research done. However, this is why we're going to spend between $70 and $100 million to improve that, so that if the temperatures of the rivers are fine, we will be able to transport the salmon upstream. We just got to figure out as well to have what they call now fish-friendly turbines, so that you can actually they can go to the turbine without being damaged or hurt, and that is what we're going to explore as part of our new project.
It's always funny at the Frenchman. I always had a problem saying it. The salmon, le saumon. I always had a hard time to say that word in English.
Same with me. I tend to call it salmon, but
salmon,
my wife corrects me all the time.
That's all right. Le saumon. But le saumon, that would be, I mean, it's the overfishing going on in the Atlantic, those trawlers. That's fish. I mean, I know you're not an expert in that,
No, I'm
but
not.
the St. John River. Did Mactaquac Dam play a huge factor of the salmon not going up?
Well, this
upstream?
is a question that I will leave the expert answer when we go through the environmental hearings that will be that we'll need to do to improve on fish passage. Like, there are people that will say that whether you have a dam on the river or not, if the temperature of the river is low, and there's a lot of other factors than just the fact that the
Climate change.
So we certainly are going to be prepared to answer those questions, but I'm not an expert in that field.
So you're going to spend the money for the salmon, the industry at Kingsclear?
Not just the salmon. We're going to do 21 species that are at risk, and so this is more than salmon.
Okay.
Plus que du saumon.
Jusqu'à saumon, everything. So that's going to be around Kingsclear, or is that going to be all around
Well, it's going to be around the Mactaquac Dam.
Dam?
It starts at Toby, which we're fixing. We're spending $9 million to improve, salmon recovery there as well.
Okay,
And salmon passage.
almost done. No, we already got that. What do you think? Do you think, compared to other provinces, is our power rate high?
Well, it depends who you compare to. But if you compare to Atlantic Canada, we're either the lowest or second lowest. There are areas in Newfoundland, some customers that are lower than us. However, after Muskrat Falls, we're pretty convinced that we're going to lower in Atlantic Canada. We're lower to all the U.S. eastern states. We're higher than Quebec. We're way lower than Ontario and Nova Scotia and PEI. So we're doing really well. We're probably in the top 4 or 5 in the country, and we're not blessed with big hydro capacity that were put together in the 50s and 60s, like Quebec and BC and Manitoba, and Newfoundland really had some hydro that they did early on. But now the cost of new hydro, as you can all appreciate, is way higher than it was then. So I think we're comparing very well for a small system. Our interconnections are allowing us to have our rates about 10 to 15% lower than our typical neighbors. So we're blessed with geography, and the performance of Point Lepreau is actually helping keep our rates lower as well.
And a poor province like us, extreme case, the power will be cut off. Extreme case.
Absolutely. We go out of our way, and we work with customers. We give them a lot of chances, a lot of letters. We're certainly not prepared to, we don't really do in extreme weathers, for instance, in wintertime. We have a no disconnect policy. So I think if people want to say the truth here on that, they'll find our utility is really friendly to the poor people that struggle to pay their power bill. We do our very best to not disconnect anyone unless we absolutely have to.
Yeah, I did hear some good stories. NBPOWER said, no, yeah, hold it. Okay, would some people be upset if I don't mention it? The spraying, the power lines.
Well,
we used to cut the trees. We used to hire people to cut.
Yeah, we used to cut the trees, but when you look at the mechanical cutting versus spraying, you look at the damage that mechanical cutting does too. is
It's not poison.
Is quite significant. The spraying is actually using products that are accepted. We don't regulate those products. The Department of Environment does. They obviously are tested, and they are also very contained. If you look at the application of those products, we will not spray them when it's windy. It's not done using helicopters. It's done, with a very controlled way, and it's really restricted to the right-of-way so that the vegetation that is harmful to obviously the lines, and put the safety of the workers and also some of the animals as well when they grow into the line. So
you understand people concerned?
Well, I do understand some of the people concerned. Okay, there was some areas where we had lines that were crossing private properties, and we probably went too close. We met all the guidelines and the rules, but at the end of the day, if somebody has an acre lot or 2 acre lot and a transmission line goes through it, they don't want it sprayed. I think it's okay, and we're working with our customers to ensure that none of their grandchildren would have access to go there. There's a perception that it can be a problem within the first, just like people do with pesticides when they do their lawn. You shouldn't have the dogs and the children there within the next 48 hours. But this stuff is really localized. It's sprayed in a professional way, and we're using products that are very acceptable to all the regulatory bodies that control these products.
Are the Irvings paying the fair rates of power?
The Irvings are paying the same rates as everybody else. They have large industrial rates, they have commercial rates, and they have residential rates. So, there's not option for us how we charge for power. So if you're making reference to, people think they're being subsidized because they are also selling us power. And we buy wind power from private developer. We buy it from the Irvings. We buy it from other companies as well, the mill in Edmonton. And when we buy power that is green or considered renewable, like biomass, for instance, our policies allow us to pay more for that. So what they use, okay, they buy at their industrial rates or commercial rate or residential rate. What we buy from them is bought at those higher rates, but we do the same thing for the landfill here in Fredericton. We buy this at around 10.5 cents a kilowatt hour. And that's because that power in the future will have way more value to us because it is renewable, it is green.
The Premier is going to be very upset with me because I told him I want some short answers, and I let you wave on because this is so important that I need to let you talk. So he's going to say, how come I couldn't talk like that? But before, this might cut off anytime, but I'll ask you right quick. Beldoon, what's the future?
Well, Beldoon has a great future in my view. It's a fairly new plant. It's actually our newest plant on the grid. And Beldoon is actually has access to a seaport. We are able to actually burn some other fuels there, like biomass. We're looking at possibly having natural gas in the future. So Beldoon has a bright future. We may obviously be restricted on how much coal we can burn past 2030, and maybe earlier than that in some cases. However, Beldoon is one of the 3 major plants in the province that is running as a base load.
How many percent?
480 megawatts, which is about 24% of our grid.
24.
So twice the energy capacity of Mactaquac, because it's a base unit. Mactaquac is a peaking unit during runoffs. Beldoon is a base load unit.
Okay, so we're up to 36%. Point
No.
Pro is
About 33 to 35.
so we're 66.
Yeah, so
Coulson
we're close
Cove.
to 70. So then we have wind for about 8%.
8%.
And then we have some purchases.
Coulson Cove.
Coulson Cove is anywhere between 1 and 5 or...
That's all.
Yeah, that's it.
That was a filthy. I remember I was in Lorneville, and
well, we have put some put some scrubbers
filters,
at Coulson Cove, and we also put some brand new components inside our precipitators. So we're able to collect particles and obviously remove SO2. We've also put some low NOx technology for burners. So Coulson is actually much cleaner than it was before we refurbished it.
Oh yeah, I know.
But Coulson Cove is also very expensive because the price of oil,
bunker oil,
is still, even when the price went down, it's still much more expensive than hydro, nuclear, and coal.
Did I forget anything?
No, I think you've covered the whole grid. You must be surfing our website regularly, Charles.
No, I'm too busy talking about me. I can't read anything. So let's pray that it's going to be a cold winter. And you got a message for New Brunswickers in English, en français?
Yeah. Well, I think I want to thank all my customers for obviously being good customers, because we've had some difficult years from a storm perspective. A couple of years that were quite rough.
What did David Roberts said again? What did he say? What's that famous line he said?
I'm not going to go there.
No. But what did he say? But it was good. No, it was a good. The premier the former premier was a very good man with words. What did he say? Hold tight. What did he say again?
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to go to.
I'm going to cut. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
I'm going to go with what I want to say to my customers.
Sorry about that.
Because so they were patient with us, and I want to thank them for allowing us on their properties to cut the trees, and that's so important for the reliability of our grid. And I can tell you we've got the support from all the mayors, English and French. The two associations have given us a blessing to go out there to cut the trees. And I know it doesn't look good the first year when you cut it right away, but then what it does, it really improves the reliability, and we see that reliability improving. So I want people to have happy holiday seasons, and obviously with reliable power, with more trees to be cut over the next few years. So je souhaite de belles fêtes, de joyeuses fêtes à tous mes clients, puis je les remercie pour la patience qu'ils ont eue avec nous autres en vraiment récupérant nos droits de passage. Et c'est sûr qu'au début, ça paraît pas trop bien, mais à la longue, c'est ça qui va leur donner un système sécure et fiable.
I like the way your communication outside. I saw the two girls talking, and they had the paper on their chest. One was reading. You're giving out live videos of update NBPOWER?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your website again?
Yeah, our website is www.nbpower.com. And we have a lot of interesting things in there. We have efficiency tips. I mean, if we do have a cold winter, there's ways for people to save energy in the future. We are really promoting smart thermostats as we speak. We are also going to come up with a program and testing smart water heaters so that we can shift the load off peak. That will be better for our customers, and in the future, it will help customers save money.
And I'm a blogger. I'm sorry. This is the way it goes. I think David always said bunker up. That's what did he say? Bunker up? There's like another word. Get ready. Everybody should just bunker up. Was it? I'll find it.
He said hunker down.
Hunker down. That's it. Thank you.
But some people didn't like it.
No, I don't understand.
And I want to make sure that it doesn't come from simply because we are expected to be there to serve customers, and we want to do a better job in the future, and that's why we're investing in tree trimming. And
David Howard was a man from the people. He was sorry for show gas. We're not going to talk about that. But anyway, the bottom line, David Howard were just talking like what no ordinary New Brunswickers would talk like, and it wasn't. They made a big deal out of nothing. Okay, joyeux Noël.
Joyeux Noël.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
C'était bon.